Joining us on the news briefing for this Wednesday. A little different look to the briefing today. We're having a few Zoom problems with our regular location, so thanks for being patient with us and using this look today for this Wednesday. So normally we begin with our COVID-19 information. Dr. Moreno isn't with us today, so we'll catch up with COVID-19 information next week. Today, we're going to start with preparedness. As many of you know, yesterday there was quite an exciting incident in Moss Landing, and it really gave us a nudge to remind us about how being prepared for an emergency is so important. And we're here with Luna Mohammed from the Office of Emergency Services to talk about preparedness because it's Preparedness Month, but how all those great preparedness tips can come into play with an issue such as what happened in Moss Landing yesterday. Good afternoon, Luna.
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for having me, Maya. So yeah, as Maya was saying, September is Preparedness Month, and our office and pretty much all emergency management everywhere is really trying to get everybody to be prepared for anything and everything that can come our way. We've dealt with wildfires, pandemics, hazardous material events, public safety power shutoffs, and I could just keep going on and on with the type of disasters we are at risk of experiencing in Monterey County. But the truth is if we prepare ourselves and if we take certain steps, we can be better able to respond and manage anything that comes our way. So I'm going to share my screen real quick with you guys. Our resilience page does have tips on preparing for any and all types of disasters in English and Spanish. We have a guide to managing different disasters that walks you through how do I evacuate? How do I shelter in place? If I need to shelter in place for a hazardous material event, such as the one we experienced yesterday, what do I do? I need duct tape, I need to close up vents, I need to close up cracks so that no hazardous material can get in my house. What do I do if I'm at work and I can't get home? Do I have a kit at my work that will get me by? Where do I go? What should I do? Developing those type of plans are really, really key. And then there's a general recovery toolkit as well. During Preparedness Month, we've been trying to post every single day with a single tip for people to take to help prepare themselves. Preparing takes a lot, and it's not a one-day type of thing, but one step can put you in the right direction. For example, signing up for Alert Monterey County, and the QR code is right there. It's also available on our website and at www.alertmontereycounty.org. That allows us to tell you when there's a shelter in place advisory, when there's an evacuation order, or any other type of life-threatening emergencies occurring in your location. So really pushing that out to the community is really, really critical. And that's one step you can take that's free, that takes 2 minutes and can save a life, right? Larger steps include making a plan and having an emergency kit, considering in your plan all of those different things that you do need to do when a disaster does happen. And what types of disasters are you most likely to experience? If you're in the Salinas Valley, you're not really worried about a tsunami risk, but you're worried about earthquakes, and you can be worried about hazardous material as well, and public health emergencies. Those kind of cross all of the regions, right? So kind of taking a step a day really can help. And so that's why we decided to really push one thing you can do per day. We really do appreciate if the media can share that with as many people as possible, as preparing really doesn't just save one person's life, but can help strengthen our community and foster our disaster resilience. And so that's just a little brief on Prep Month. I'll pause now if anyone has any questions.
Great, and if anyone has any questions, please go ahead and I'm not seeing how I'm going to get chat. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and put them in chat. I do have a question while we're waiting for other questions. Using Moss Landing as an example yesterday, there was a shelter in place order and there were roadblocks where people could neither enter nor leave the community where they may either live or need to return to. How can being prepared, how can someone be prepared for something like that?
Great question. So Starting with signing up for Alert Monterey County so you know when a shelter-in-place order is happening and you're unable to return home, and when it's lifted, when you can come back, because we do also send those alerts. That's number one. But another thing you can do is having an emergency kit in every place that you frequent. So if I'm at work, I have a little Go Kit, and my Go Kit has maybe some copies of my photo ID, like a just scanned copy, possibly. It may have a change of clothes. It may have some cash, maybe not too much, but a little to get me through if most of my cash is at home. It would have a flashlight. It would have a change of some sturdy shoes, maybe a jacket, right? So an extra charger for my phone. Maybe my only charger's at my house. Preferably, I would like to have a portable one in my car to go. So maybe having a Go Kit in your car, at your work or school if you're there frequently, having a kit in your house. So if I can't leave my house now, I need supplies. Luckily, that shelter in place order didn't last too long, right? But what if it lasted for 2 weeks? What if it lasted for a week? Can I stay home with all my events clothes and duct tape? And do I have duct tape to close things? If I'm being told to keep all of the hazardous air from coming inside my house, do I have plastic and duct tape to help do that? Do I know how to do that? That Managing Different Disasters guide does walk you through what kind of things you need to think about when you're trying to shelter in place from hazardous material. So do I have all those supplies? Do I have enough food and water and medicine, whether I'm at home or out, to get by until I'm either able to get home or leave my house? Do I have gas in my car if I do need to leave really quickly? We didn't have to do that this time, but if I did, do I have that available? So really thinking, what supplies do I need? And how long might this last? It didn't last long this time, but that's very thankfully it didn't last long this time, but that might not be the case next time. So that kit, having that plan, where am I going to go if I can't go home? That's the big one. Where can I stay in my house that doesn't have any windows or doors where hazardous toxic air can come in? Do I have an HVAC system that can help filter some of this out too? Do I have an air conditioning system, an air filtering system that is adequate for this time? It was a fire that led to hazardous material, right? But what if it was a large wildfire or just the hazardous material in the air? What is my level of protection with my current air filtration? That's a nice question to ask to kind of help you as you're making that emergency plan and getting those supplies together.
Thanks, Lynn. And here's a question for you. How can lower income households be prepared for emergencies if they may not have tech resources at their fingertips?
Absolutely. And the HVAC system is probably like the higher end of that preparedness spectrum, right? But just simple things like having a plan. Is there a friend I can stay at if I can't get home? Let me figure out who that person is, right? Having those small supplies in your house or in your Go Kit as well can be really helpful. When we're thinking about hazardous material events or any type of disaster, really, having some strategies in your mind on what you can do will help when you're panicked. I can't go home or I can't leave my house. That can be a really stressful moment for me. But this is what I practice. This is what I rehearse. I can plan this and practice it for free. It won't cost me a dime to practice and plan. It won't cost me a dime to sign up for Alert Monterey County either, and be aware of these type of issues, right? Of these emergencies and incidents that are occurring so that I can protect myself. Just because I don't have enough money to get a really, really fancy HVAC system, which honestly, that's me too, right? I don't have anything fancy at home either. But if a big wildfire were to happen next to my house, I do have a change of clothes in a bag, and that was free for me to do. And I have a charger that came with my phone, the extra one I have, that's in my bag as well. And that was free for me to do. I'm signed up for all my alerts and I know where I can go. I have multiple friends in multiple places and family where I'm, okay, this is plan A because they'll take my dog. This is plan B, and then I'll put my dog in this house to make sure they're safe. Oh, and I have SPCA of Monterey County's number just in case I don't have any of those places. They all fall through for me. So really, you don't have to take every possible step in the world, but taking one step in the right direction, considering duct tape is a couple dollars, having that in your house if you do have to shelter in place with some plastic, $5 amount of investment right there instead of thousands for like a brand new high-tech HVAC system, and that will still prevent a lot of that hazardous air from coming into your house. Even having some face masks might be helpful, like the N95s, although they don't filter everything, they might help a little bit for you during certain types of poor air quality events.
Well, I've got a question for you, but I'm hoping you could put up the Alert Monterey County login or QR code or location for where people can sign up. But you mentioned pets, and pets are just a huge component. Nobody wants to leave their pets behind anymore, or they get frantic if they can't get back home for their pets. As part of your emergency plan, what do you recommend people make a plan for their pets?
Absolutely. So a few things that you want to do to help prepare your pet. Number one is finding a place. If you do have to evacuate your house and go somewhere else, where can I go that is pet friendly? Like I mentioned, SPCA Monterey County does tend to open up an animal shelter as close as possible to human shelters when possible to help assist with animal sheltering, but most people don't want to be away from their animals. I know I don't want to be away from my dogs. So thinking of hotels that are pet friendly that you could potentially evacuate to, or family or friends' homes is big. Having a leash and a carrier. Animals can get scared, especially during chaotic types of disasters like earthquakes. Having that available so that they don't run out and end up getting themselves injured. That would be in your own little pet kit. You can include in your emergency kit or make a kit of their own for them. A comfort toy is really nice so that they don't panic. And another really big thing is practicing your disaster plan with your pets. So if they're not used to quickly leaving your house, getting in your car and driving somewhere, they are going to be really uncomfortable doing it during a disaster. But if you do that during practice at least twice a year and include your pets in that practice, you'll have all the equipment ready to help carry them out, and they'll be used to quickly leaving so that they won't panic and run off and get themselves injured or lost.
Thank you very much, Luna. And for anyone who may not be able to see the web address for that, it's Alert Monterey County, one word.org online.
And I put in the chat too.
Good. And then for people who are watching on Facebook and YouTube, alertmontereycounty.org. I have no other questions for you. Any last words of advice, Luna?
Not much. Just take a step today. Anything you can do will help you just one step in the right direction to preparing. Disasters will happen. We can't stop them. We can help reduce them and prepare for them, but we're not powerless. We can reduce their impacts and we can protect ourselves, even though we can't always stop them, right?
Thank you very much, Luna. Always good advice.
Oh, and I put the resilience webpage in there as well. So the resilience webpage and alertmontereycounty.org are also in the chat.
Thank you very much, Luna.
Thanks.
And now we're going to turn to a really great topic. You may not know that there are local grants that are available to individuals who are and groups who are working towards wildlife protection and preservation. These are grants that are funded when people do the wrong thing and get fined for fish and game violations. So we put a happy ending on something, not so great. And we're very pleased to have Brian Flores, our County Chief of Parks, to talk about these grants and really some of the great projects that the grants have funded. Hi, Brian.
Morning, Maya. Morning, everyone. Thank you for that lead in there. So yeah, we have an exciting opportunity. It's an annual opportunity for local individuals and groups to take part in receiving funds to assist wildlife for education, do all kinds of neat projects that benefit the wildlife within our county. And so the Fish and Game Commission of Monterey County is, I believe it's our longest standing county commission. It was put in place in 1947. And the sole purpose of the Fish and Game Commission is to take what are called propagation funds from that are put in place by the court system for individuals who break both local, state, and sometimes federal wildlife laws. And so out of the settlements, fines, donations, the county gets a portion of those. And we have really great cooperation with the Monterey County District Attorney's Office, as well as California Department of Fish and Wildlife, to get as much money as we can from those settlements that will then be turned around and given in the form of grants to the local community to improve wildlife issues in our county. Some of the great projects that have taken place in the past have been fish ladders for steelhead habitat along the Carmel River. The Audubon Society has done some projects with, they needed binoculars. They needed like 20 sets of binoculars for their students to go out and learn about our local bird communities. And then we also have some habitat restoration when there's been wildfires or other types of destructive things take place. The grant recipients have used those funds to kind of rehabilitate the area to make it more habitable for the wildlife. We've had wildlife guzzlers, so water systems put in for quail and deer and unfortunately wild pigs, which are the bane of my existence these days with county parks. But they are part of our wildlife and do provide food for other mesopredators. We've also had whale entanglement projects, Chinook salmon projects to release smolt into the Monterey Bay. Everything down to pollinators, bees, butterflies, projects that plant milkweed and native plants so that our pollinators don't die. One of the projects that is an annual project is through the Ventana Wildlife Society, and they do a non-lead ammunition giveaway. So if a hunter needs steel lead or steel ammunition, because these days you can't use lead ammunition in hunting situations, the Ventana Wildlife Society provides that free of charge as much as they have from the funds from the grants. And so it's a really great way for organizations and individuals to kind of give back to our community and to our wildlife by doing some of these projects. The grant application period is currently ongoing. It closes October 19th, at which time the Fish and Game Commission then pulls all the applications back. They have an ad hoc subcommittee that then reviews those applications, makes a recommendation to the commission. The commission then brings that forward to our county budget committee and the board of supervisors for final approval. And then the grants are dispersed to those individuals or agencies or groups. The grants typically range anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000. This is one of the, as I stated, this is one of the few grant opportunities that the county actually administers itself, and it doesn't trickle down from state or federal level. And I just can't stress enough that, this wouldn't be possible without the great support and cooperation with the Monterey County District Attorney's Office. Some of the things that people get in trouble for are poaching. So hunting either out of season or on public or private property without permission, using the wrong type of guns, or hunting with guns during archery seasons, things like that. Fishing in areas that are closed to recreational or commercial sport fishing. Harvesting mussels and clams and some of those things from the beach where it's either not allowed or you have to have a license to do so. Also, taking and stealing plants, native plants is a big issue down near Garrapatta, where we have had individuals stealing native plants for sale in other countries. We have a very beautiful area. We have lots of natural resources, and it's you always hope that people use those appropriately, but at times people don't. And when they have that settlement levied against them, the Fish and Game Commission gets part of that settlement as well. So I guess I don't really have anything more to add on that, Maya. Do you have any questions, or does the group have any questions?
I do have a question. If there was an individual or a group that was very interested in this grant opportunity, what should they keep in mind about a project that they would like to do that would make it successful?
Sure. So the this program is governed by California Fish and Wildlife Code. And so the grant projects have to fit within a certain parameter. And that is they have to provide either a benefit to wildlife, education to individuals or groups or the community about wildlife, anything relating to that. If it was just, say, a hunting or fishing trip where there wasn't any type of education component, that wouldn't be allowed under this program. And so we do have some junior pheasant hunts as well as fishing trips and things like that. And they're always coupled with some type of educational purpose. And so, how, hunting does help manage wildlife, how fishing does help manage our fisheries, things like that. So as long as it is educational or beneficial to the wildlife in our county and local areas, then they would have a pretty good shot at receiving some of these grant funds.
And then how would someone apply? Is there a phone number, a website?
So yes, so if you go, there is a link. So we have an ad in the Monterey Weekly as well as the King City Rustler in print. And so those will be running for the next few weeks. And so there's a QR code and there's also a contact number as well as a link to where you can go. But if you go to our main county website under announcements, there is an announcement there as well as on our Public Works Facilities and Parks page, as well as on our Parks website. So there's multiple places people can go to get information on this. And then it's an online fillable form and makes it really simple. And then they print that out and send it in by October 19th. And then they're down the road to hopefully getting funded.
Thanks very much for running down this grant program. And we hope to hear about really more great projects. After this round, we hope to get a report from you next year about all the great things.
Most definitely. Great. Thank you, Maya.
Thank you, Brian. And thanks everyone for joining us on the news briefing this week. Our next briefing is next week, and we'll see you then.